Office is located at 601 108th Avenue Northeast, Suite 1800, Bellevue, Washington, 98004. The Confident Retirement Approach is not a guarantee of future financial results. Investment advisory products and services are made available through Ameriprise Financial Services, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Ameriprise Financial Services, Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC.
Beyond being this amazing neurologist, inventor, author, Dr. Dan Cohen has been called to look at technology and look at personal and spiritual development and merge these together. His technology uses the healing and psychospiritual effects of synchronized sounds, vibrations, electromagnetic fields, and how that interacts with us in our nervous system in what we're calling the Soltec chair.
The Soltec Lounge induces profound levels of relaxation that transition over time into deep meditative states. The synchronized sound, vibration, and magnetic field induce these states. The subject doesn't have to work at it.
To learn more, go to soltecwellbeing.com. That's SOLTEC Wellbeing.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's so great to have all of you turn us on here at Cultural Brilliance Radio. Claudette, take a moment, if you would, before we talk about the ways that we could go about this, right? Take a moment to let folks know how can they sign up for the Leadership Mindset? How can they find out more about you? And what's the best way if folks want to chat with you directly about their organization? Just give folks the information they need to contact you, if you don't mind.
No, thanks so much, Pat. So my website is culturalbrilliance.com. My direct line is 781-538-6616. And I would love to chat with folks about their organizations and their cultures. Leadership Mindset is right there on the website to sign up. And it's a very short email that comes in your inbox. Yes, a short, important, not a long thing to read, that comes in your inbox on Monday mornings. Depending where you are in the world. Yeah. But sometime
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, you're going to see lots more. Claudette has got these fabulous articles being uploaded to her blog. It's a big conversation when we're talking about culture. It's even bigger when we're talking about brilliance. Let's talk about one of our favorite topics here. It doesn't matter to me if you're working for a large corporation, a small corporation, you work for yourself or you don't. Ways to shift and change culture. We're talking about people here. So how do we go about this? We're not just changing this thing that has no face.
Right, exactly. And it's so much it is the how, right? How we do it. How we could, two organizations could say they want to become more innovative, right? Which is a hot topic these days, right? They want more innovative cultures, and they could both, even let's say companies in similar industries, they're both in, let's say, high tech. They both want to have more innovative cultures, and it's the how is gonna be what matters, because one company could do it really well, and the other company could not do it well, and they're maybe not going to get an innovative culture, and they could even have less productivity in their company. So it's really about putting a plan in place that's actually what I would call designed, which is part of the cultural brilliance model, that we've consciously and intentionally decided or designed how we're going to put this change in place. How we're going to develop a more innovative culture. So could be, so we pull everybody together and we, as a company, define what innovation actually means, right? Because otherwise you're going to have 15 different definitions of innovation in your company because it's not a particularly concrete word. And you start from there and you have a process in place that people generally agree on. Okay, now we know what innovation means. How can our company become more innovative? What would that look like here? You would get into what function you would need to change. Do people need to get trained or coached? They need to learn some things. We can't just say, okay, voila, become innovative. How will we know if we've become innovative? What's our reason for even doing this? So you continue to have a set of conscious and intentional conversations So you all understand as a culture what you're doing, why you're doing it, and then how you're going to actually get there and how you'll know if you've gotten there, and you can move forward from there.
Yeah. And I love what you're talking about here in terms of, and let's get back to this idea of authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
It is so key right now in organizations, and we're seeing it now also in the mainstream. We're seeing about what authenticity means. People do want to believe and trust, and some folks have not been able to do that. Isn't it difficult to build trust if people don't believe that the real you is showing up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be really difficult to build trust. And, sometimes that's going to be one of the reasons that becomes part of the how you move your culture forward is stepping back and saying, we don't have trust in this culture. There are certainly people who trust other individual people within the organization, but overall, we do not have trust in this culture. And I've said that to organizations, you're not going to be able to get where you want to go unless you can step back and build some trust so that people can be free to, have some psychological safety. They can feel like there's well-held vulnerability in the organization so that they're not trying to protect themselves from being vulnerable. They actually feel like they can be vulnerable. An example with that, the good old, I can admit I made a mistake. I can give and receive feedback. I don't feel like someone's out to stab me in the back, if I share an idea at the next meeting. So there was an organization, I forget the name of the company, but it's a large corporation. They run a chain of movie theaters. And one of the things that they do, and I thought this was brilliant, was they, as part of their culture, every 2 hours, people working in the theaters and other entertainment centers actually stop what they're doing and exchange feedback with each other.
Wow.
And it can be something like, because, in the last couple of hours, when you did such and such, that made it harder for me to do what I needed to do in my job. How can we make sure that doesn't happen again? How can we come together and talk about this? Like, that's literally the language. And so they have a quick conversation. And what they've done that is so phenomenal is they've tied this to their business results. They've tied it. This is part of their overall business system. So this isn't, and so I see organizations do this a lot where they'll say, yeah, this feedback thing's nice, but this has nothing to do with how profitable we're going to be. And I keep saying, actually, it has everything to do with how profitable you're going to be. And this corporation has said, this is part of our business process and system, is that you give feedback every 2 hours to each other.
Wow.
So everyone's learning. That's part of it. Everyone's learning all day long. And because of that, they were able to measure. It became more productive.
Yeah.
They actually are more innovative and cutting edge. Absolutely. Yeah. Because people aren't dragged down by the fact that there are festering conflicts.
Yeah. And that's where your words match your actions too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's really what we're talking about here, which is really key in the process that you use. And talking about this is, if you're going to say something, then you got to figure out how your behavior is going to match that. Mm-hmm. What a great show. Thank you so much for this today, Claudette. Thank you for joining all of us here. One last question. What is your personal message? What would you like to leave us with today?
Thanks, Pat. I'd like to leave everyone with the idea that I believe all cultures can be brilliant. And your definition, that's going to vary from organization and culture to culture, right? You're going to have your own definition of brilliance, but that most cultures and organizations can be improved, where there are places that are more successful, more profitable, where people love to go there, they're engaged, and they get to be creative and innovative. And that's my vision, is that I think any culture can be brilliant.
Awesome. Claudette Rowley, everyone. And by the way, go to culturalbrilliance.com. I'm Dr. Pat. We've got another hour coming up here on Transformation Talk Radio. Make yourselves a great day.
You've been listening to the hit show Cultural Brilliance Radio, the DNA of organizational excellence with Claudette Rowley. Conversations that are transforming the world of culture and business. You can download this podcast and find out more about Claudette and her breakthrough work at ClaudetteRowley.com. Please contact Claudette and find out how you can create a brilliant culture.